Sandhan. All Gujarat Integrated Classroom.
સેટેલાઇટના માધ્યમથી જોડતી કડી એટલે સંધાન.
Good morning, students. Today we are going to talk about one important form of literature, that is one-act play. Each form of literature has its own past, own history, or its own origin. As we discussed about the origin of man, origin of number of things, we should not forget to discuss about the origin of the one-act play. The one-act play started, we can say, very back in the history of English literature. Now we should not forget that we are going to discuss the one-act play of English literature. Let us go to discuss some history of its origin. If we start, we can say, let me show you the screen so you can note down something, that the origin of the one-act play, it's dated very back. We can say with the mystery and miracle plays. Now these two words are very difficult, new for you, I can say, as far as you are the students of first year, or I can say second semester. Mystery and miracle plays are the plays dated back almost 13th century or 15th century, and they are generally related with the religious people, or we can say, when we talk about English literature, they are generally related with the Christianity. Now, as a form, it started as a kind of cycle. Now, what is the cycle? At that time, people were going for the theatres. They were watching number of dramas. People were playing dramas over there. And now, the small plays started in a form of a cycle. One play after another. That is the cycle. It started in the 15th century. Let us come to the 15th century. And it started as an interlude. Now what is interlude? They started long dramas, 3 hours dramas, full length dramas played on the stage. We cannot say theatre, but on the stage, open air stage, open air theatres were there. And then in between, when the actors were getting ready for the next scene, they got some time for 10 minutes or 15 minutes. So in that time, these small plays were played on the stage for the entertainment of the audience. Now, as each form gets its ups and downs, this form also got its down in the mid 17th and 16th century. Now, and after that, in the 19th century, it emerged as a powerful form of literature. And then, they started full-length plays on the stage. Now we had in English literature a long tradition of playing dramas in the theatre. There was Shakespeare and number other dramatists who took the English drama to its height. And then the small one-act play came as a curtain raiser. Now, once again, it's a difficult word, maybe a difficult word for you. Curtain, you know, screen. In Gujarati we call it parda. In drama there are screens. So before the drama starts, there was some 10 to 15 minutes for the audience to wait, and for that the one act plays were played as a curtain raiser. But the audience was more interested in the main plays only. So these plays were ignored by the people. Now let us come to the one act play. After this short brief history, let us start discussing one act play as a form. Let me discuss the three words one, act and play. Let me start with the word play. Now you know the word has come from the verb, the infinitive, to play. Now to play has number of meanings, but here to play, it means to perform on the stage. Now we come to the word play as a noun. Now as you can see on the screen, a piece of writing to be performed in a theatre, that is called a play. Now second, we can say something written for acting, that is a play. Or we can say a dramatic composition or piece of drama, that is a play. Now up to now you must be aware that we are talking about one important genre of literature, that is drama. Now let us go to understand the word act. Act means a short performance by one or more entertainers. One or more. There may be a one performer only, or maybe more even. Short performance in a program, that is act. One of the main divisions of a stage play. As we discuss the one act play as a form, we should start with discussing scene. Now if you go to watch any drama or any film, you will find that there are scenes. Now scene is a small unit of the act. There may not be one scene only, but in drama or in film we find more than one scene. So the act consists of more than one scene. On the stage we find one location, one discussion, one scene starts, and then the scene changes. In an act we find one or more than one scenes also. Now let us discuss one act play. A one act play consists of one act. As the name suggests, one act play is made of only one act. You may be knowing that in a drama there may be 1, 2, 3, sometimes 4 even, or 5 acts. 5-act play, that is full length play. It means 3 hours or 2.5 hour play. But now people have no time, we can say, to go to the theatre and sit for 3 hours and watch the play, a full length play. So now the 1-act play or 3-act play are getting more and more prominent. People are interested in this play more and more. Let me define the word 1-act play. When we discuss any form, we generally go to the Greek literature, because most of the forms of English literature got their origin from Greek and Latin literatures. So we have to go there and find out. The word drama in Greek means to act. So in the one act play, the action is the basic element. Now let me discuss for you the other forms of literature, that is novel or epic or comedy or tragedy. But one act play is related with a prose work. So we discuss it in comparison with novel, essay. So if we compare it with a novel, novel has descriptions. The writer describes the characters. That we do not find long dialogues. The writer describes. But this we do not find in the one act play. They are written for the stage only. Now what does the English dictionary say? A play consisted of one act. If we find one act in a play, it's a one act play. This is a simple definition. Now what Webster says? The literary composition, I think you must write down when I speak something, or I have come with a slide so that you can note down. So note down the definition what Webster says. The literary composition that tells a story, usually of human conflict, by means of dialogue. As I said, there are dialogues and action to be performed on the stage, because one act play is written for the stage only. No doubt, sometimes we read the dramas, we read the one act plays, but generally one act plays are written for the stage or the performance. Let me go on the stage by action. Stage play, a series of events. We find series of events. As I just said, we don't find descriptions like essay or novel. We find dialogues. We find stage and interesting and vivid, a series of events. So interesting and vivid. It should be interesting because the viewers are there, the audience is there. They should be interested. Otherwise, they may get angry even. They would not like. And nowadays, we know that if you go to the theatre, you pay the charge. You purchase the ticket and you go to watch a play. If you are not interested, then you may be frustrated or you may get angry even. Let us start to discuss the one act play as a literary form. Now, as I just said, the one act play stands in some relation to the drama as a short story to the novel. Now, it will be very clear for you that you can say one act play is a short version of the full act play, and short story we cannot say, but it's a short version, short form, just like a novel. Now you might be thinking about the writer, that it is very easy to write a one act play, but no, it is not so easy to write a one act play. There are number of things which the writer has to keep in mind, because there are a number of reasons for that also. Because it is to be acted, it is to be played on the stage as a live show, we can say. When it is a live show, it should be interesting. Second thing, the time constraint, the time limit. It's a one act play, so we can say it can run for half an hour. So in half an hour, the writer has to put the characters on the stage, the scenes, and he has to develop the story, the plot for the viewers, for the audience. Two things grow in any literary form, that is, not any literary form, but in a drama, any novel. One is story, second is character. When we watch any drama, we understand, we come across, we know about number of characters, and we come out with a story. As a form, there are number of restrictions on the writer. The writer cannot develop his characters and plot gradually like full-length drama or the novel. The writer has no time as the full-length dramatist has or the novelist has. The writer must present the people and the story with a few suggestive stocks. He has very limited time. So he has to be very selective in the character, in the dialogues. I can say he has selected each word very carefully. He has time limit. Each sentence must contribute something. Full length play, the writer, the dramatist has some time. He can take some time. He can add some dialogues. He can take some diversion. He can discuss, the character can discuss something else beyond the story, beyond the main plot. But the one act play writer has no such time. He has to go direct to the main theme, main plot, and the development of the characters in the time limit. So we can say brevity is the soul of the one act play. Brevity. I can say shortness. It should be short. It's the soul of the play. And the writer has to keep in mind that he is dealing with such a form that he has to complete his work within a short period, within a time limit. But now, as you know, if we go very brief, if we go very short, we can become complex. If I don't explain the word one act play in detail, if I go very fast, then you may not understand the word even one act play. So some time I have to take. So the writer, the dramatist, the playwright has to take some time. But if he goes very short, very brief, it can become complex even. So the writer has to avoid the complexity. Otherwise, the audience will not be interested in the play. Let us go to discuss the characteristics of one act play, one by one. The first characteristic I can say of the one act play is that it's a short play. It is short, but how much? it takes 30 to 40 minutes to perform. As I just mentioned, the full length play takes 2.5 hours or 3 hours. The one act play runs only for 30 to 40 minutes. It cannot include all the topics which the full length play can. The writer, the dramatist has no time. He has to go very fast and he has to come with the things or the characters or the dialogues which are very necessary for the development of the story or for the development of the characters. The characters should develop very fully. Otherwise, if you come out after watching a one act play, you may be having some questions, some interrogative marks in your mind, that who was he or who was she, what was the relation of this character with that character. This should not happen. So, no complexity in the characters also, no complexity in the plot even. Now, what can be the subjects? The subject can be any. He is free. The writer is free to select any historical, social, political subjects. Now, let us go to discuss the second characteristic of one act play, that is scene. There is one act, but maybe many scenes. As the title suggests, one act. So it is very compulsory for the writer to finish his play in one act only. But there may be more than one scene. We cannot say how many. It is up to the writer, up to the director, that how he wants to divide the play. Second thing, economy is one of the ruling principle for the writer. What is economy? He has to finish with some limitations, brevity, time limit. That is economy, I can say. The action is almost continuous. There is no break. He cannot take a break. As we find in the full length play, once the curtain raises, the curtain falls with the end of the play. There is no break. There is no interlude. The action is almost continuous. As I just said, he has not to take a pause. Once the play starts, after 30 minutes, it ends with its end even. The limit is the time, not the scene. As we were discussing just before, for the writer, the limit is time. He has to finish the play within 30 to 40 minutes. But he is free to divide his one act play in more than one or two scenes. It is the liberty with the dramatist, with the playwright, to divide his play, one act play, into more than 1, 2 or 3 scenes. It is up to his technique, up to the demand of the play. Some plays, you may watch some plays on television, because nowadays we don't go for the theatre. No, we go for the theatre, but for the films only. But we do not go to the theatre for plays. Now I can say it is not in fashion. We don't go for the theatres. So there may be some difficulty for you to understand what I say, what I explain for you. One scene is considered to be very proper. If you discuss this topic, you can say that one scene is a proper thing, but the writer can divide his play with more than one scene. Let us go to discuss the next characteristic of the one act play, that is unity. This may be a new word for you, unity. You might be thinking about this word, but let me discuss. As one critic says, unity at once its motive power and its limitation. Unity, let me repeat, unity is at once its motive power and its limitation. Now there are two contradictory words, power and limitation. It's a power only, it's a limitation also. If the writer wants to write the one act play, he has to finish the play in the time limit. And this is the limit also. What happens? The audience will come, because it is only half an hour play. But in half an hour, the writer has to do a lot, because when we go to watch any play, we go with number of expectations. We want entertainment, we want message, we want to learn something. As there are two functions of literature, to teach and to please. So the writer has to teach something. He has to give the message for the life, for the audience. Plus, he has to entertain. So both the things he has to manage within a time limit. So it can become his power or his limitation. This time limit can be his power or his limitation. Let us go and discuss the word unity. It has few minutes, while the full length play has few hours. Once again, it has few minutes only. And the full length play writer has few hours, it means 2 or 3 hours. Now the action should move with dramatic intensity, because the writer is going to write a drama. It should be dramatic. It should not be descriptive like a novel. He has to put everything in the dialogue, because he cannot describe anything. He cannot come with the forest or the sea or the river or number of things in background. Nowadays, if you think about film, it is possible. But if you think about the stage, it is not possible. He has to put everything in the form of a dialogue. Something he can put in the background. But we know the limitation of a stage. Plus, he has to maintain. Let us read the effect, and the knife edge suspense can be created only by observing the 3 unities. Now let me explain the three unities. There are three unities. One is time, place, and action. If the writer is writing a play or a drama, as the classical rule says, the writer has to maintain these three unities. First is time, place, and action. Let us start with the word action. What do I mean by action? What do the people, what the critics mean by action? And what do we mean by the unity as an action? The action of a play must be one, complete and whole. It should be one. It should be complete. It should be whole. Complete and whole. Because when the audience go out, the action should be over. As I just said, the audience should not go out with any doubt or any question mark in his or her mind. There should not be a subplot. Once again, a new word may be subplot. In a full-length play, we find subplot. What is a subplot? We find the main plot, main hero, and his activities, and with that we find a subplot. I can say a parallel plot, developing, growing with the main plot. Now you might be knowing, let me explain this thing with the film, because nowadays films are very not I can say popular, but we go and watch number of films. I can say once or twice in a month, or maybe in a week also. So if you go to watch a film, you might understand that there is the story of the main hero, and with that we find his friend or his relative or anybody else, and his or her theme is also going very parallel. Maybe the subplot has no any relation, it may be comic also. Sometimes we find the main plot tragic, but for the entertainment, the dramatist add a comic subplot, or it may be the parallel or the same. It may not be comic, it may be tragic also. The main plot can be comic and the subplot can be tragic, but they go very parallel. They are supplementary. They help each other because the characters are related with each other. They may be friends, they may be relatives, they may be neighbors. But if we discuss about the one-act play, the writer has no chance, no time to add any subplot. So you can say we don't find subplot in the one-act play. No mixture of comedy and tragedy. It has a direct. Let me discuss one-act play with full-length play. In the full-length play, there can be a mixture of comedy and tragedy, but in the one-act play, we cannot go like that. The writer cannot do that. If the plot or the theme is tragic, then he cannot mix comic scenes. He has no time. He has to create one type of theme. So there is no mixture of comedy and tragedy. So let me repeat one thing. Action. Let us repeat once again, so you can understand it very well. The action of a play must be one, complete and whole. There should not be a subplot or a mixture of comedy and tragedy. Now let us discuss time. Now time, what do we mean by time? Not that time limit for the one act play. 30 minutes, no, we are not discussing that time. The play can run for 30 to 40 minutes. But the time which we are discussing here is the duration of the situation which he takes in the play. In the full length play, we can say that the hero takes birth, he grows, he goes to the school and goes to the college, he marries. We can take this much of story in 3 hours. But in one act play, we cannot do this thing. If you start with the birth and in his school time and his college time, no, the writer cannot do that. So what can be the time? We can say the time can be of 1 or 2 days. The scene starts, the action starts in the morning and it runs for the whole day or the night, and then when the day is over, the play also gets over. So this is time. So the one act play writer cannot go for a long time. He has to complete, he has to finish the story in 1 or 2 days only. Now place. The entire action should take place in one place. Now once again, let us discuss with the full length play. What happens? In a full length play, we find number of scenes, number of acts. So the location can change. Let me give one example, that you can start with the scene in a school, then the scene moves to the marketplace, it moves to the temple, it moves to any historical place or any riverside or somewhere, and then the main characters move to somewhere else. He can go to a foreign land also. But this is not possible in a one act play. The scene should take place in one place only. That is, if the story starts, if the location is in a school, then it should complete, the whole story should complete in the school only. If you are writing about any home, then the play should end in the home itself. You cannot take the locations for a school, any home or any public place. We cannot change the location. We can say we cannot change the place of the play. That is the place. So now I think it is very clear in your mind, that is what is unity. Unity of action, unity of place, and unity of time. Now let us discuss about characters. The writer should limit the number of the main characters to 1 or 2. Now the writer has no time he cannot come with 10 or 15 characters all together on the stage. In the full length play, what happens? 3 characters come. In the next scene, we find another 3 or 4 characters. In the another act, we find another 3 or 4 characters. Once again, the first 3 characters come back on the stage, and the drama goes on. The play goes on. But in one act play, this is not possible. If the writer comes with more than 10 or 15 characters, or I can say 10 or 15 characters, he cannot manage. Or I can say the audience would not like it. So he should limit his characters. He should limit his characters up to 1 or 2 or 3. Because he has to develop the characters. If one character comes and he speaks or she speaks 2 or 3 sentences, and then another character comes and it speaks for 1 or 2 minutes, and then it disappears, then we would not like, we will be confused. The writer cannot develop the characters fully for the characters, for the audience. Second thing, the principle of economy is not an absolute principle, but it is one of the artistic principles. Economy, once again the word comes for you. It is artistic. We do not create the limitation for the writer. It is the limitation for the artistic point of view. Otherwise, more characters will not be managed by the writer. And the two things, he want to develop the characters, he want to develop the story. What will happen? If there will be 10 or 15 characters, we will come with the impression of characters and their names only. The story will be missing. We will not come out with any story. When we come home after watching any one act play, we will not come with any story or any message. We will come with some characters only, their names only. This should not happen. So the whole purpose of one act play will be killed. We will not find. It will not be served. The purpose will not be served. Now let us go to the next characteristic, that is plot. The one act play cannot have a complex plot nor a lengthy plot. Now let me explain the difference between story and plot. Story. Let me explain this thing. If you go to watch any film, if you come home and your friend asks you, what is the story of the film? So you can describe the story of the whole film of 3 hours or 2.5 hours or 2 hours within 2 or 3 minutes. The hero is this, it happens with him, that, and then this is the end. So the story you can say, you can describe within 2 or 3 or 4 minutes. But plot is a different thing. In plot, we find all the things, location, setting, all the descriptions. You do not make before your friend. When you come home and describe any film, you do not describe all the things. You just say about some songs and the main story only. You cannot say it's a plot, it's a story. Okay, so let us discuss the plot in relation with the one act play. The one act play cannot have a complex plot nor a lengthy plot. the writer must select a small but significant portion of an action. Small but significant. Significant. The word is very easy. That is important. Small incident and significant. It should be small and it should be significant also. If it is not significant, we will not be interested. We will not go to watch the one-act play, or we will not recommend anybody else to read or watch that one-act play. So it should be significant. The plot should be short and significant. Next thing, the writer must avoid subplot, as we discussed, and he should avoid unrelated incidents. The incident which is not related with the main story should be avoided. He cannot include any incident or scene which is not important for the main plot story. Otherwise, it will be a diversion, and diversion is not possible in one-act play. He has to go very straight. As I have to finish this lecture within 50 or 55 minutes, so I cannot waste time. I cannot talk here and there. I have to discuss one-act play to the point, one by one, and then finish my discussion within time limit. So now it is clear in your mind that there should not be any diversion. I cannot talk anything else. I cannot talk about epic, I cannot talk about lyric, sonnet. I have no time. I have to just discuss the one-act play. Okay, so the writer has also no time to include any unrelated incidents, and he cannot see from scene to scene. He has limited scenes, 3 or 4 scenes, and he has to finish his action. To create a single effect should be the goal of the writer. But when the writer is there, he has to finish the story or the one-act play within time limit. To create a single effect should be the goal of the writer. Single effect. If he selects one theme, he cannot include another theme even. He cannot discuss another theme even. He has to complete his story within a time limit. Now, unity of impression. Let us go and discuss the last thing. The writer of the one-act play must think out in advance the impression he wants to create on the audience. He has to decide in advance, and he has to write the one-act play with the time limit. The motive or the aim of the writer is unity of impression. The audience will go with one impression. So the writer has to keep in mind that he has to create that impression that the audience is going to go when they will go back from the theatre. That impression he has to keep in mind, that what type of impression he wants to create. He wants to create through these characters and through this plot on the stage. The one-act play and the full-length play are two different forms. Now, they are two different forms. We cannot say that if you are writing a one-act play, that it can be converted into a 3-act play or 4-act play or 5-act play. No, it's an independent literary form. As we cannot convert a full length play into a one act play, we cannot convert a one act play into a full length play. They are two independent forms. If the writer is writing a one act play, then he will see it with the mindset that he has to write a one act play. And when he stops writing, he cannot add another scene. He cannot add another act. No doubt, with the same theme, he can write another play, and that can be 3-act play or 5-act play, full length play. But the same play he cannot convert into a full length play. So these are the characteristics of the one act play. The one act play cannot be expanded. Okay, the one act play is a distinct form of literature and is governed by its own norms. This literary form has its own rules and regulations. So if you go to write any one act play, or if any writer is writing any one act play, he will have the rules and regulations in his mind. Okay, so let us make the revision very fast. Let me make the revision very fast with the characteristics only. Okay, first we go for, it's a short play, so it is very different from the full length play. Second is the scene. The second characteristic of the one act play is scene. So there are scenes and there is one act. Second is unity. Here we have discussed the three types of unities: action, time and place. That you have to remember. Okay, and this the three unities will come in the full length play also. But there is another type of thing when you discuss the full length play. Second characteristic is character. Without character, the one act play is not possible. Next characteristic is plot. Most important thing of the one act play is plot. And ultimately we find the unity of impression. The writer has to create one type of impression on the audience, which is the goal of his mind. So these are the characteristics, and we can say one act play as a form. So today we discussed the one act play as a form, its history, its origin, and different characteristics of a one act play. I hope I could make it very clear in your mind. Now you will be able to understand, you will be able to attend the question in your examination also with the help of this lecture only. Thank you very much.
Sandhan, All Gujarat Integrated Classroom.
સેટેલાઇટના માધ્યમથી જોડતી કડી એટલે સંધાન.